The Virtual Boys have been playing Nintendo since they were little. These many years of experience have made them experts in the field, or at least they think so. Join them this week as they talk about cooking super quick meals, bouncing a ball on your head, and the best games coming in August. You're listening to the Virtual Boys podcast by Nintendo City. This podcast is done by four friends that talk about anything and everything Nintendo. Check out our website at nintendcity.com and be sure to follow us on your social network of choice. Please be sure to subscribe and share us with your friends. Oh, and please enjoy our show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Virtual Boys podcast, a Nintendo podcast about Nintendo things. This is episode 62. I'm your host, David. Give me an Axiom Verge date, please. Accompanied today with Jordan.
I'm most excited for Sonic Mania this month.
And then James.
Me too.
I'm still really excited for Axiom Verge, though, as well. If they give us a date.
Yeah.
I can't find anything about that.
I know, like, is it October? Is it September? Is it August, like they originally said? I don't know.
I just want to go fast.
Be able to run really fast. Well,
fast.
Thanks for joining me today, guys. Unfortunately, Skylar couldn't make it with us. He's out of town this week, so we'll forgive him, I guess. It's always fun to talk about Nintendo things with you guys. So, there hasn't been a whole lot of groundbreaking news this week in the Nintendo world. I mean, we could talk about Splatoon 2 again for a week, but we reviewed that last week, so you should go check that out. Anyway, today we're going to talk about two indie games that we've been fortunate enough to get review copies of, and we're going to review these games fairly and hopefully with some entertaining dialogue. The first is Ultra Hyperball, and the second is Overcooked Special Edition. Both of these games are out now, and you can buy them if you want. After that discussion, we'll go through some of the games that are coming out in August that we're excited for, like we mentioned earlier, you know, Sonic Mania, Axiom Verge, and a few others. Before we start, just want to remind you to check out our Patreon page because episodes are going up early as a reward for those that support us at the $5 tier. You can visit that at patreon.com/Nintendcity, and we'll start fleshing that out with even more rewards and such. But that's enough of that. Let's jump right into Ultra Hyperball. Jordan played.
Me first.
Yeah, you first. Jordan reviewed this game for us this week, so I'll just let him talk about what the game's like.
Hopefully, I'll be able to have my written review out before this episode comes out. But I'll give some quick notes I thought in this episode. Ultra Hyperball. I keep getting the title all mixed up.
Well, I do too, so it's okay.
Ultra Hyperball feels like a classic arcade-style game about a boy who wants to become a professional hyperball player, which is a sport where the player tries to bounce a ball on his head as high as possible. A really simple game, but it's actually really fun, and it keeps things feeling really fresh by changing up the goal each level. Sometimes you want to try and get the ball as high as possible. Sometimes you're able to move horizontally so you can try and keep the ball alive as possible, like hot potato sort of thing. Sometimes you have multiple characters on the field and you're using the touch screen to bounce each player so that you can keep the ball alive. It's always doing something new, and it just feels fresh. There's 25 levels. Each level is pretty unique from every other level. There's not a whole lot of duplication going on, and it's just good classic arcade style fun. I did have a few problems with it. For starters, I wish the control options were actual options, whereas right now it's set so that each specific level is tied to a specific set of controls, which makes sense with the touch control levels, but tilt and run are basically the same thing. Either you're tilting to move or you're using the joystick to move. It really should come down to player preference, not level preference. And it becomes even more of a problem because the tilt controls are really, really bad. You have to recalibrate constantly to try and keep the calibration okay. What I found while tilting the controller, whenever I tilt right, it seems to run really far. and then if I tilt left, it moves slower than right, and then that messes up with calibration if I hit right, left, right. So hopefully the developers are able to figure out what's going on there. The developers have informed me that they're aware that this is a problem and that they hope to fix it with a patch later on.
Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah. Especially, it feels like they kind of rushed the game out a little too soon. Maybe they should have, since they know about the tilt controls, held back a little bit. I don't know what kind of partnership you have to do with like Nintendo to delay a game or whatever, but it would have been nice if they had this fixed from the get-go. And then there's only like 5 levels that are touch control. They kind of feel gimmicky. The tilt and touch controls in the game feel gimmicky to the point where it feels like they're just experimenting with the control options with the Switch for maybe a later game in the future with development. They're just using this game to learn about the Switch and development with the Switch. They only got, but single player is fun. I've been enjoying it. Each level you can earn bronze, gold, or bronze, silver, or gold, depending on how well you do in the level. And getting gold, and sometimes even silver, is really difficult in each level and really satisfying, especially since they're usually accompanied with another like skin for your character. There's 45 skins you can unlock, and they're really wacky and fun, and it shows the sprite work in this game is really fun and vibrant and interesting, and it shows these characters. You can play as a panda or a robot or a wizard.
Panda.
Panda's my favorite one to play as. My roommate loves playing as a giant death skull TV thing. I don't know what it is.
That sounds fun.
Sounds OP.
But the game's really... It's charming. It's really charming and really enjoyable. It's kind of small, the single player. You got 25 levels. I wish there was an endless mode. There's no endless... You would think with an arcade-style game they would have an endless mode where there's no restriction on the amount of times you're allowed to hit the ball, just to see how high you can get it before it hits the ground. Maybe it's just too easy to keep things going endless, so that's why they didn't want to do it. I don't know. And then you can't check what your rank is with like people around the world, or even just with your friends. If other people have the game, it would be nice to be able to be like, oh, I have gold on this level, but my roommate doesn't, or even just like getting as high as possible. The game is designed to be a party game, though, so the multiplayer is kind of where the game comes together a lot more. The multiplayer is a lot more fun than the single player. We were able to get me, Skylar's brother, and my roommate all into a game. Multiple games. We completed the entire multiplayer, which there's like probably 15 levels and then 5 battle maps as well.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so it took quite a bit for us to get through all the multiplayer stuff. And just like the single player, every single multiplayer level is different than the other ones. It was kind of odd, though, because you would expect with a game being a party game and each level being kind of a competition, which they are. Well, some of them are. Some of them are about getting like the ball as high as possible. And with competition, with a ball, as soon as the ball hits the ground, it ends the game. And every player on some of these maps has their own ball, so it would make more sense for just that player to be out of the game and the game to continue with the remaining 3, especially if one player is really bad. But it just goes with whoever has the highest ball at the time. And then there's a bunch of levels where you have to be working together, but you're not really interacting with each other, so it feels, I don't know, kind of distant. Those ones weren't as fun. And then there was also some levels where we were trying to get gold on a bunch of them because we wanted to get a lot of characters. That was our whole objective with these, because we blew through just getting like the base bronze level on these pretty quickly, but getting silver and gold is a lot more difficult. And we found on some levels to get gold, you would think that when you're hitting the ball, you want to get as many perfects as possible, but we could cheese it by just getting as many pours as possible because you could hit the ball a lot faster. And so it was really, it was a little interesting where Skylar was like, oh man, I just wasn't bad enough, guys. But multiplayer is a lot of fun. It is a fun arcade party game, which is what they're advertising. I wish the controls were fixed. Hopefully in a patch coming out, they will be fixed. It is really simple. While there are a lot of skins and unlockables, I don't know if there's $10 worth of content in here. $10 seems to be a really high asking price. It would have been nice if it was a $5 game. It's nice to be able to just whip out my Switch and play like a couple levels, though. They're quick, easy. It feels reminiscent of mobile style games where it's just you turn on Flappy Bird or whatever and play a level or two and then close it and do whatever you're working on, which is great. It ties into the mobility of the Switch essentially that way. But yeah, I would like more content. I would like the controls to be fixed, and I kind of wish the characters had story to them because the story is already pretty simple to begin with. And a lot of these characters, they're named characters, and it's just not just robot or whatever. They have a name, and I have no idea where their names come from. Are they references to past games Spring Loaded Games has made? I don't know, but
that's really interesting. Like, why would you name all of these different things names? Like that Death Skull TV guy that you were talking about earlier, he has a name, right?
I think so. I'll have to check later.
So where did it come from? Yeah, I can understand that.
But it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. Sound and graphics are really awesome. As soon as you open up the game and it just like does the music, the dun 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 or whatever. I'm not a musician. But,
sick beat. Dun, dun, dun.
But everything's vibrant. And there's also a style to the art where you have floating like sushi in the sky and stuff. And, the main character, he works at a ramen shop, but he wants to become a professional Ultra Hyperball player.
The dream.
And so the main map is you bouncing the ball in front of a ramen shop. And I had played it for probably 8 hours, and I was like, I need to get ramen. Subliminal messaging, but whatever.
The ramen company is speaking to us through video games.
So do you think that's sponsored content? Is it sponsored?
Yeah, no. I think they just really like ramen over there. But the graphics, they're fun. The music is really fun. I'm really interested to see what spring-loaded games may come out with in the future, just because they clearly have talent behind them. It's just that I feel that this game itself, while fun, was a little rushed. And it's really hard to suggest the game when it has a fairly high asking price for... It could have used a few more months of development, I think, especially since the controls are bad and 25 levels. Well, 45 unlockables. That's really nice. Like it is nice, but 25 levels in the game is kind of short for $10. It would have been. It needed to be like a $5 game, and then I could more easily suggest it.
Content is a big driving factor for video games, because you spend money on it. That was a really dumb sentence. I'm really sorry about that.
Water is wet.
Yeah. I'm not editing that out, by the way. That is staying in. Just so our listeners know how dumb I am sometimes when I have no idea what to say. Anyway, Jordan, do you have any other final thoughts on this game before we move on?
No. I'll have the full review out later. It'll be much longer than what I said here.
Oh, perfect. Thanks so much for reviewing that game for us. I'm glad that you liked what you saw and could review it for us. Let's move on to Overcooked Special Edition. Now, this is a game that James got to play through, so I'll just let him talk about it for a few minutes. Go ahead,
awesome.
James.
Well, for those of you who don't know what Overcooked is, it's a simple cooking simulator game that is meant to be a couch co-op mode. Co-op multiplayer type of game. I remember the developers saying that when they were first pitching the game, and probably I guess it was back in 2016 when I was writing for opnoobs.com, and I just thought, oh, this game looks so much fun and so chaotic. And it really is. It's fun, chaotic, and when I say simple, it really is. Like, you have 3-4 ingredients, maybe, I think 4 is the most ingredients you can have, and put it on a plate and you gotta bring it out. But it's so hectic to get to that point that this game is not a piece of cake. It really requires you to understand the game and really like plan out how you're going to do things. That being said, it's still a lot of fun. So going with the multiplayer part, this game is a must if you have a lot of people in your house who just want to sit down and play the Switch. I mostly played it Overcooked by myself, and I just wanted to try to see if I could do the main campaign by myself, and it's possible. But it starts out from the very beginning. Well, the very beginning, the tutorial is fairly easy, but then you get into World 1-4, and that's when it kind of like picks up, and you start to think to yourself, am I going to be able to clear this level? And you finish it and you get 3 stars, which is the most stars you can get, and you're like, oh, okay, whew, okay, I did finish that. But as you go forward from there, each level just gets progressively harder, and there's a point where you need a certain amount of stars to get to the next level, and you realize I don't have that many stars. So you have to go back and rebeat some of the levels to make sure you get all the stars there, which can take some time. But at the same time, because the levels get progressively harder as you go along, when you go back to those older levels, you'll be like, oh, this is easy now. So it kind of helps you learn the game a lot better as you keep going. Now, there was a point where where it became so hard that even if I went back to some of the levels that were too hard for myself, I still couldn't do it. I still couldn't get the last star. So that's when I kind of grabbed a friend and be like, "Help me! I need your help, brother!" And so we get through that level. Now, I find it a lot of fun by yourself. At the same time, I think it is meant to be played with someone else. I really do. Mm-hmm. Even the game kind of wants you to, or it kind of asks you to play with someone else to begin with, because when you're playing by yourself, it's you have 2 players you're controlling, and you switch between those 2 players. So it's kind of like, if you couldn't take a hint, you need someone else to play this game. But all right, you could try it by yourself. So as far as recommendation goes, I definitely say get this game so you can have a blast with 2-3 of your friends. Okay. But I don't know if there's much in the way of a single player experience, unless you really like these fast kind of, I guess you can kind of call it a puzzle game, but it's more of a cooking simulator. If you like that kind of stuff, do it by yourself, sure, go for it. But I think it's really strong when you have another person and you're yelling at each other to get the freaking meat off the grill and into the bun and onto the conveyor belt. But like I said, it's still a lot of fun. And this special edition comes with the added DLC. It also has, well, as the other editions did, it has the versus mode, which can only be played with other people. But if you just need a quick game instead of going into the campaign, that works as well. So as far as how it performs on the Switch, because it is, like I said, it is a port. Yeah. It when I first got it, there was a lot of well, okay, a lot is too strong of a word. There were some issues, some frame rates and some clipping, odd clipping going on during cutscenes and stuff like that. But very, very, very minor, and it's kind of like a split second kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So if you weren't really paying attention, you wouldn't see it. But they did, either they're working on one or they put out an update, because I don't see any of the issues I saw before, but I did hear that they were working on an update. So I'm not sure if they put that out yet. They're still working on it, but right now it's actually performing a lot better than when I first got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good, because earlier today, Digital Foundry, I think, released a video comparing it to, I think, the PC release, and it was running at like 22 to 24 FPS compared to like 30 to 60 on the other consoles.
Oh,
and
wow.
A lot of people were complaining about how choppy it is, so I hope they do fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could kind of see those FPS drops, but I guess that's just not my expertise, is looking at these frame rates. And so for someone who doesn't necessarily have an eye for that, it still was fine. But even then, I did see some frame rate issues at some point. So if I can see it, then it must be a real issue. But I'm sure that either they've put out an update, or they're working on something to fix that. Again, like I said, I really recommend this game to play with someone else. It almost like Snipper Clips, where you have to play with someone else. This game, you can do it by yourself, but I think you'll have a lot more fun with a friend, especially someone who likes to talk and you can like yell at, because you're not like killing each other at the end, because it's kind of a fun game. There's even a button where you can your character basically swears. It's pretty funny. They're like they say they make that noise, like noise, and these swear letters come up, the censored letters or whatever. It's pretty hilarious. And so the whole time you're cooking or chopping food, you're just swearing like I had a lot of fun. One other thing I wanted to mention that's kind of a downside, and I'm sure they've heard this multiple times, is that there's no online play for this game. A game that is so focused on multiplayer that could actually benefit from it decides not to go with it. And I understand they're like, oh no, we want co-op, couch co-op playing going on with this. But I don't see why you couldn't have online and still communicate enough. I mean, sure, there could be some frustration, and then you have to go with the whole going through voice chat if they would support that. But I still think you could communicate with people with just swearing, and maybe some other communication button, like where your character goes yippee or something like that. I mean, how hard that would be? That wouldn't be that hard, right? So anyway, I think not having online is kind of a downer for this game, but obviously their focus is having someone there with you. So I guess that's okay. As far as scores goes, you'll have to listen to my review, or not listen to my review.
Read it.
Read my review. I'm hoping to get it up tomorrow, which is Thursday. Be looking forward to that.
Well, that should be before this episode airs anyway, right?
Yeah, it should. The episode should come out on Monday, so it would have already come out 3-4 days ago.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for reviewing that game, James, and thanks again, Jordan, for the other stuff. These games do sound like fun. Go ahead.
The review code was provided by Team 17 and the developer, which is Ghost Town Games. So just wanted to say that real quick.
And we got a review code for Ultra Hyperball as well. That was also provided by their developers. Just since I don't think we actually mentioned that, because we kind of have to. It's kind of a law, I think.
I think we're supposed to mention that. But hey, we did it.
We did it now. We're good.
Rolling around at the speed of sound, got places to
everybody, it's your friend David, just hopping in the middle of the episode, just like I usually do, to give you a quick rundown of some of the things that are happening with our website, as well as some things that you can do to help support us. Speaking about the website, you can check out the show notes for this episode at nin10.city/EP62. From there, you can share that page to your friends on all of your social media accounts, as well as however else you want to share with them, because that's how we can get the show out to other people. People clicking through to that will be able to see the show notes and embed of the podcast itself, as well as a bunch of other useful links on how you can listen to our podcast elsewhere and support us. To also support our website and our ventures as a podcast, it would mean a ton if you would just head on over to patreon.com/Nintensity and take a look at some of the things that we can offer for you. Any amount that you could possibly spare a month would greatly help us and help us continue this project and continue the podcast and all of that other good stuff. We appreciate anything that you have to spare, and with Patreon you can cancel at any time, and you don't even have to really commit all that often. So if you can, that'd be fantastic. If not, thanks for listening anyway. Another way to support us is to go to iTunes and write a review. Something that can just take like 30 seconds of your time. Just letting iTunes know how we're doing and all that could really help us get the word out there. iTunes uses a lot of user reviews in their algorithms for recommending new podcasts to other people. And you leaving a review would just help us out so much. I don't really have a whole lot else. If you want to help write for our website, just send us an email at contact@nintensity.com and we'll get in touch with you. We're looking for people to help us write news, and we're always looking for people to write editorials and other opinion pieces. That's pretty much all I have for this episode. We'll catch you next time, and I'll just let you get right into the rest of the discussion. I think from here we're going to talk about the games in August. See ya. Well, let's spend the last little bit of time that we have together tonight and talk about a few of the games that are coming to the Switch this month. I would say 3DS, but I don't think there are any good big 3DS games coming this month that I could find on any list. So let's talk about some of the big ones for Switch. The first one that we wanted to talk about that we're all excited for is Sonic Mania.
Oh boy.
This game is going to be fantastic.
I have been a Sonic fan longer than a Nintendo fan, so this game was made for me.
I feel like I should know which episode you told us that you were a Sega fanboy. There was one podcast episode where you talked about that for I think 15 minutes.
I think it was the first episode.
It might have been, yeah. We should go listen to our pilot episode where we sound awful because we have a terrible microphone right in the center of all of us. We're sitting around a tiny table, and I didn't know how to edit anything. Anyway, yeah, you've been a Sega fan for so long, and you just sound so excited to get that good old Sonic back, right?
Yeah, this is up there with a new Banjo game for me in terms of excitement.
Oh, shoot.
I think this is probably one of my most excited anticipated games of the entire year. Because, we get Sonic games all the time, but most of them are bad.
Yeah.
But this one, they're returning to the roots. It's being made by some really well-known fans. The developers have made fan Sonic games in the past that have been really solid. And Sega came to them, or they went to them. I don't know which way it was. And they're like, hey, let's just instead of making these fan Sonic games, let's make a real Sonic game. So it feels like Sega is making a fan Sonic game of Sonic.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's pretty meta.
I wish Nintendo would do things like this more. But then again, I would have said that. Right. Well, see, I would have said that a couple of months ago before E3 when we found out that we were getting the Metroid 2 Samus Returns remake.
Right.
But now that we know that we're getting that game, it's like, all right, that's fine. Because there was that AM2R fan remake. But anyway, Sonic Mania looks fantastic. I've played the old Sega Genesis Sonic games. In fact, Sonic 2 was one of the games that I played all the time with one of my friends in elementary school. I don't think I've actually ever told this story to anybody, but before I had my own Nintendo console, I'd go over to his house while I was in probably second grade or so, and we would play Sonic together. We, of course, had Mario 64 up at my cabin, which we had long before then, but yeah, it's always fun to get to play Sonic. I ended up buying the Sonic games for the Wii Virtual Console like as soon as I could, and I'm really excited for Sonic Mania. Like, I don't think I've ever been excited for a Sonic game in my life.
Well, another interesting thing to note is, aside from the iPhone ports of the Genesis games, this is, I believe, I could be wrong, so there will probably be a commenter like saying Jordan's an idiot, but I believe this is the first time that we get to see a classic style Sonic game in HD, which gives you additional space to telegraph what kind of obstacles are in the way, which makes gameplay for these kind of games so much better.
That's interesting. I'm surprised they would never have put those on HD.
Well, they did with the iPhone.
Oh, okay.
The ports on the iPhone or mobile, I don't know if they're on Android. The problem is they have mobile controls, so they're garbage.
Yeah, they're garbage, right?
Yeah.
But the people who are making Sonic Mania also made those ports.
Oh.
So they've been working for quite a while with... In fact, I believe they rebuilt the engines so that they could work on mobile, and that's why they were in HD. And so these guys, they know their stuff when it comes to Sonic.
That's really cool. I'm so excited. I mean, it's great to see Sonic hit a widescreen format with really crystal clear visuals. They've upped the game. I think it's running consistently at 60 FPS or, just below that. So they've added more frames of animation for Sonic's motions and movements, and it looks really good. And I'm excited to play it.
They have an Old West zone that looks like Utah, so that also makes me really excited.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I honestly, one of the things that's been impressing me the most is the music. I am just in love with some of the music I've heard. One of the things that for me that really ties into Sonic games is the music. So if they're getting that right, oh man, I'm just ecstatic to see what they do with the gameplay. And like I said, or like you said, the game does look great, and just can't wait to pick it up.
Yeah, we'll have to give our review on the game when it does come out. Yeah, let's move on to Mario and Rabbids, because that's coming out later this month.
The end of the month.
Yeah, the end of the month. That's right. This game looks weird. We've talked about it a little bit before, I think. Yeah, we have.
It looks rather odd.
Yeah.
But still a lot of fun, and everyone who's had their hands on it, like recently they flew some people out to try it out, and they have just been nothing but praises for it, and saying, it starts off easy, then it gets really hard. So it sounds like it's a fairly good game. I can't get over the fact that Rabbids are in the Mario world right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. Mario's had so many crossovers in the past; it doesn't even really faze me, to be honest.
Oh, really? I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to. I don't know. There's like a part of me that's like, "Oh, yeah, you'll like this game," and then another part of me is like, I don't know. It doesn't seem that. No.
I think the gameplay looks fun, but I don't like Rabbids, and the art style looks really bland. And so those are the two things kind of holding me back. I'm going to have to see what the reviews say for this before going for it.
Yeah, so far I've just heard good things about it, so I guess we'll see.
Well, I'm excited to get it. We'll see if one of us does end up getting it, and we'll definitely review it if we do. It does look like a fun game. I'm really excited for the combat because it looks... I don't even know how to describe how I feel about the combat. It's just so different and fun. That's it. XCOM.
It's XCOM. Yeah. So if you like XCOM's gameplay for the most part, then you probably will like this game. I don't know what it is about it. Like I said, it's just something. There's just something about it that makes me want to like it, and then there's something about it that just kind of no. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be a good game.
Well, that's about it for Mario and Rabbids. Let's talk about Axiom Verge. This is an interesting one because we still don't have a date for it, but we were told in June that it was coming out in August. But some other sites are listing it as October, and I can't find a source for why. So if it comes out in August, awesome. It's fantastic. I want to get it so bad. Skylar reviewed the game on the website probably a year ago or so, I want to say.
I think it was last October, yeah.
Yeah, back when we were still the Virtual Boys, like virtualboys.xyz.
Wow.
And he entitled it like the true Metroid anniversary game. Like he loved it. And watching him play it, I'm like, I want to play this. It looks fantastic. Now, the thing is, in the last few weeks, we've gotten some news that the physical release of the Wii U version is taking a lot longer than he thought because none of the US retailers want to stock it because it's the Wii U copy of the game. So he promised a Wii U version, and that's what's probably holding him back right now. I hope that he gets past that and figures something out so that we can get the Switch version because I want it on my Switch.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? All of us will probably get it for Switch if we do get it. I'm going to get it for Switch.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a physical release for forever.
Yeah, I think for the Switch, it just works well with having it either on my TV or on the go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a Metroidvania style game, 2D side scroller. You have weapons, you can enhance your weapons, you solve puzzles, you go through tunnels, and lots of vertical platforming, lots of horizontal platforming. I mean, I had a blast watching Skylar play it, and I really want to play it. And I've said that already, but I don't care because it is a good-looking game, dang it! Anyway, do you guys have any other thoughts on Axiom Verge before we move on to another game?
It looks fun. I've actually haven't seen much of it. I've heard a lot about it. Just that it's good, actually. So I guess I haven't heard much about it even. And so I've been kind of just like saving it for when the physical release will finally come. And before now, it was I want to get it for Wii U, but now I want it for Switch because that's available as an option.
Yeah.
It is interesting. If it gets delayed till next month, it'll go head to head with Metroid.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's the console, like, they're both on different consoles, but still, the same style of game is coming out. Yeah.
Which is the better Metroid game?
I'd probably get Metroid first.
Axiom Verge. I would get Metroid first. No offense to Axiom Verge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm getting both.
Well, I would play Metroid first, okay?
All right.
Fine.
Like, if they came out the same day, I would get Metroid first.
Yeah.
but I too like it, Metroidvania type games, and this Axiom Verge looks to be a lot of fun, so can't wait to play it.
Another game that's coming out this month is Ironcast. I totally had a page open that was explaining Ironcast, but I closed out of the tab.
So Ironcast is basically like a steampunk puzzle game, puzzle league kind of a game, where you power up your mech by doing the puzzle blocks or whatever. You build your mechs to have certain attacks, and you basically keep the French from invading Britain back in the Victorian area. So it has a lot of atmosphere, the steampunk atmosphere to it, and I like those kind of puzzle games. It does seem rather mobile, like a mobile game, which is not necessarily bad. This is not a bad thing, but but it does feel or look fleshed out. So I personally am excited for it, and can't wait to play it on my Switch.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that because you basically said everything else. So, Jordan, have you looked at this game at all?
No, I haven't heard about it until just now.
Well, now
Fair
you
enough.
know.
Now you know.
Do we know how much it's going to be?
I'm not sure. Maybe I've been told. But I'm not positive on that.
Nintendo doesn't have a page open for it yet, so... Oh well. It looks good. well, I'll probably end up getting it. Those are the 4 games that I listed that are coming this month to Switch and 3DS that are interesting. I know there are a few more indie games that are coming out, but they're more of the smaller variety, I think, much like some of the ones that we've reviewed. So there was one really cool piece of news that I know James wanted to talk about, and that's about Dragon Quest.
Yeah, there's kind of been uncertainty if or when they would bring Dragon Quest XI to the West. I mean, I thought it was inevitable, but I guess some people were doubtful. But yeah, it is coming to the West. They are bringing it. However, they haven't confirmed what platforms they're bringing it for. They may have said PlayStation 4 recently, but since we're not a Sony site, we didn't report on that. But when they first made the announcement, they said wait for a later date for which platforms it'll be coming to. So right now in Japan, the game is out for PS4 and 3DS, but not for the Switch, even though they've said it should be coming to the Switch. So there's been no footage of it on the Switch or a release date or anything. So are they going to wait for the Western release to say, hey, it's for the Switch? Who knows? I'm hoping we get it for both the 3DS and the Switch out here in the West, but having it at all, it would be phenomenal.
Oh, James, actually, well, there is a new trailer that just came out like 30 minutes ago or so, at least on my radar. And it's by Capcom, uploaded onto their Japanese YouTube, and it says Monster... Oh, just kidding. I'm sorry, that was Monster Hunter. Never mind. Never mind.
Capcom.
Yeah, never mind. For some reason, I got Dragon Quest and Monster Hunter stuck in my head. I'm so sorry. Please
wait,
forgive
I haven't
me.
been saying Monster Hunter, have I?
No. I thought
good.
Monster Hunter and Dragon Quest were the same.
I was like, I could have sworn I was saying Dragon Quest.
I'm sorry, I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning. I'm a little loopy. Anyway.
You're fine. I mean, hey, Monster Hunter coming for the Switch, that's great, and we've already seen footage for that.
Well, it's Monster Hunter's Stories, right?
No, it's Monster Hunter XX.
It's a XX.
Is it being localized to Switch now?
They haven't confirmed the localizer for the Switch yet. This is just a Japanese trailer.
Japan.
Yeah.
But it's coming to
There is a
Switch.
demo. There is a demo coming out, so you could play that demo. But
little did you know, I brought this trailer up so we could segue into it. Just kidding.
I see. But that's another game I really want Monster Hunter that I really want to come to the Switch localized, be localized, But
yeah.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But here's hoping that both Capcom and Square Enix get their act together and say, yeah, you know what, we're going to localize it for the Switch. And then we all live happily ever after.
Happily ever after. Well, that's all I've got on my list. Was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about tonight before we end the episode?
Nope.
No, we're good.
All right, well, real quick, I'm Team Mayo, so come at me, bros.
Team Fry Sauce.
I'm Team Ketchup.
All right.
I'm officially Team Ketchup.
You guys are going down. Skylar and I are on Team Mayo. We'll see how the Splatfest turns out.
If it's Japanese mayo, like if I was in Japan and I had to choose, I'd be like, oh, mayonnaise, hands down. Because that mayonnaise is just so much better than American. But we're talking about...
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
so much better.
it's freaking good.
And David knows because I bought it for him. And
yep.
So a bit of a tangent, but my friend recently went to Japan. I mean, it's on subject, but kind of. He went to Japan, and he found a crepe station or whatever, cart or whatever, you could buy a crepe.
Yeah.
And they were selling a Gintama, like, special edition crepe.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen Gintama or anything, right?
Yeah.
So he buys it, and he eats it, thinking that it was going to be kind of just like fun things in there. I'll tell what the Gintama crepe is. It wasn't. It was an exact replica of the Gintama crepe, in which it's entirely filled with mayo and tuna.
Okay, so that's actually a very, very popular flavor in Japan.
Is it really?
Oh, yes.
'Cause he said it was horrible.
Okay, so the crepe. I think I've maybe had the mayo tuna crepe like maybe once in my life, and it was okay. But what you get with the mayo tuna is you put it in a rice ball, the onigiri. That is fantastic. I love it, but that's hilarious that he would just think, oh, this is probably going to be some like chocolate sweet goodness.
Well, it was like 90% mayo with a little bit of chunks of tuna or whatever.
Oh yeah,
it was
that
trying to
sounds.
be as close to gintama as possible.
That sounds right.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because he said the crepe guy was laughing at him as he was actually downing the whole thing.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so maybe the having that much mayonnaise is maybe a little ridiculous, but the mayonnaise is ridiculously good in Japan that I don't blame Gintama for having that kind of a crepe because it's just delicious. But but yeah, you could find like a hot dog ketchup crepe. Probably. But
that's weird.
I know. Japan is a lovely place. I love it.
Now we know all about Japanese mayo. So Team Mayo is going to win. Just kidding. We'll see what ends up happening. Anyway, I think that does it for this week's episode of the Virtual Boys podcast. Before we end, I'd like to thank you, our lovely listener, for joining us in this episode. You listening means a ton to us.
Yeah, I'd also like to give a shout out to Skylar, our co-host, who he's not here today, but he composed our intro music and our outro music, and he's a really talented dude. You should check out his SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Skytar, and the S is actually a 5. I know, pretty crazy, but
Pretty elite. Pretty elite.
Pretty elite. But he's a music major, and he has a dream of writing video games for a career. And he does a fantastic job, so you should check out some of his stuff.
And I'd like to shout out to our Patreons, Chris and Chase. Your support means a ton. If you want to join them, go to patreon.com/NintenCity.
And that'll do it for this episode of Virtual Boys Podcast. Thanks again for joining us and tuning in this week. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on iTunes. We'd also remind you to check out our website at nintensity.com, where you can find news, show notes, and more. This week's show notes are at ninten.city/EP62. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye!
Goodbye, you good people.